joining us in this video. And in my first video in my Chatting with Moms series, I'm hoping it's the first of many videos. And I'm really excited that the first person I'm talking to is Melissa. Let's jump right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Texas, and I live in North Carolina now. I love it here. I have a husband who I've been married to for 6 years. It'll be 7 years in a couple of months, and we have 2 kids. Our son is 4. He'll be 5 later this year, and our daughter will be 1 next month. And I'm in complete denial that she's not going to be a baby anymore. I'm so sad about it.
I know.
It goes,
that.
Yeah. And then I am a stay-at-home mom. Before kids, I worked in IT and then changed careers into teaching. And when my son was born, I decided to stay home with him, and it's been amazing. And then, of course, with all the free time I have, I decided to start a blog. Yeah. So it's a blog focused, it's a marriage blog focused on helping couples connect. My husband and I do a lot of big and little things, and we're very intentional about connecting with each other, especially when you have kids that you have such little time, and it's just, you need to be very intentional about it. And we realize that a lot of the things that we do could really help other couples, hopefully. So I started it, and I've been having a lot of fun with it so far.
Sounds great. Yeah, it's true. You do need to set aside time, scheduling the time that you have together sometimes, Yeah, you're right. Be intentional about it. Yeah. So does that mean then that when you started teaching, you started to teach IT, or are you teaching something completely different from IT?
No, completely different. So very random. My husband is in the military. At one point, he was stationed in South Korea, and I went with him, and I started teaching English there. And that's where I fell in love with teaching. So when I came back to the U.S., I started looking into, well, how do I do this here? And I got my Master of Arts in teaching English as a second language. I love learning about other cultures and helping them learn English, because it's a really hard language, actually. So it's been a lot of fun. And I love just staying home is definitely where I'm needed right now.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Okay, so I've also got a few icebreaker questions here. And the first one is, if you were stranded on a remote island with your children, what are 3 things that you would hope to have to hand with you? And no judgment at all in any of your answers. But what 3 items would you want to
have? So I'm assuming we're not talking about like water and food.
No.
But
no. I suppose for some children, food might keep them occupied and happy forever. I don't know. Yeah. My kids aren't one of those. Any 3 items.
Definitely some kind of book, it's got to be a long book, like dictionary or like an encyclopedia. My son loves to read, and he loves to ask questions and learn. So I think that would help preoccupy him.
Okay.
So definitely some kind of long book that would not get old right away.
Yeah. Okay.
Goodness. I think this is hard. Yeah, with my kid.
Hard, actually.
I think also something where we could, cook together somehow. I mean, my son loves to cook and help in the kitchen. I think it would be fun to have some kind of like a stove or something to help us cook and make it a little, kids.
Okay.
Oh, and maybe a boat to just go out further into the water. I mean, assuming we're going to stay on this island, it'd be
Yeah.
nice to go out the water and
Yeah.
go further out and then come back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think those are really good options, actually. And I said no judgment when I was asking because I thought, you know, someone might say an iPad. They might say that and then think, oh, someone might not agree with that. But yeah, yeah. Okay. Those are three really good options. I like that. I like that. And then also, what is your biggest
is when I get interrupted. So if I'm in the middle of saying something and someone interrupts me, it just throws me off, which is funny because especially having a 4-year-old, you get interrupted a good bit. So that's definitely a challenge.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last one is there any food that you think is disgusting, but you make your kids eat it because you think it's good for them?
Yes. So I actually do not like eggs. My husband thinks I'm crazy. But my kids love eggs, and I try not to tell them that I don't like eggs because I don't want them to say, well, mommy doesn't eat eggs, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to eat eggs. You know, they're
Yeah.
great for you and they're so healthy.
Yeah.
But I don't like the smell, don't like the texture. And yeah, so I try to stay away from letting them know that I don't want them and I don't want to eat them. But yeah, I make them eat
Oh,
them.
that's funny. Okay. So what you don't like them in any form, fried, boiled, scrambled, nothing. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And it's always been like
nothing.
that. Or did you develop it over time?
I'm sure there was a time when I was younger that I ate eggs. I feel like my parents probably gave me eggs, but I don't remember it. So I had to have been pretty young. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, well, speaking of when you were younger, what would you say or how would you describe your childhood?
Um, I would describe it with a lot of love and patience and care for my parents. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and then when she did work, she was a teacher. So she had, the same schedule as I did, being in school, and she was around a lot. And then my dad, thankfully, was able to work from home sometimes, which, back then was not a thing really. So I have a lot of memories of having my parents home a lot and spending a lot of time with them. And I loved it, even as a teenager. I mean, I would have movie nights with my parents and pizza nights, and I loved spending time with them.
Wow. Wow, that is a really unique experience, actually. And were you, how many siblings do you have?
I have one
One,
sister.
okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's really interesting, having both your parents at home. Yeah, back then that is definitely unique. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize it at the time, but now that I'm older, I realize, I saw my dad a good bit, even though he worked full time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in my mind, he was home a lot more than he probably was. Like I remember him being home, but he definitely did work outside of the home a lot.
Okay.
I just remember him being home a lot. So that was really nice.
Okay. Okay. And did that influence your decision to stay at home at all as a mom
Yeah.
yourself? Mm.
Yeah. I loved being around my parents, and I loved knowing that they were there for me. And I definitely wanted that for my kids as well. I knew even before I got married that
Yeah.
when I had kids, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I'm happy that it was able to work out because, sometimes it's not. So, yeah.
Yeah. True. Okay. Oh, so what does a typical day look like for you then?
So my husband and I, usually, not always, sometimes on the weekends, we sleep in by an hour, but we usually wake up before the kids. Um, and we'll go downstairs and we try to have breakfast together. If my husband's going straight into the office, then, sometimes he has to leave as soon as possible and we can't have breakfast together. But we try our best to have a cup of coffee or have breakfast together just us two before the kids get up. And that
Nice.
is, yes, it is awesome to start your day that way in peace. And, even if they wake up, both of my kids stay in their beds and are happy in their beds. So it's nice to not have that stress of I need to rush into their rooms because I hear them awake. No, they're fine, and I know they're going to be fine. So that is definitely a huge help in the mornings.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like what you've taken on with your blog is just so important, because I think couples greatly underestimate what happens to their relationship when a new tiny person is thrown into the mix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ever prepares us for that as much as we should be prepared for it. So I think that's yeah, it's really important. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What would you say are some of your biggest challenges in a day, in a normal day?
Mhm. One of my biggest challenges is that by the end of the day, if not before then, I am both mentally and physically exhausted. And I just have not. It's amazing how little time I have. I didn't realize when I just had my son how much time I had, and then my daughter was born, and I realized I should have cherished that a little bit more, because it really does make a huge difference once you just add one more kid. Your time goes way down. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. So what kind of things do you do to counteract that? Um, the less time that you have now, and how much more busy you are. What kind of things do you do to make things easier for yourself?
So we encourage our kids, and even with ourselves, alone time.
Mm.
And we tell them that it's absolutely okay for you to have your time in your room playing by yourself. And sometimes we say, I need mommy time,
Yeah.
or dad needs dada time. And that's completely okay. And so we even do it with our daughter, who's not even one yet, usually at 5, because we eat dinner at 5:30. We eat kind of early. So at 5, she goes in her crib and she plays with some toys that I know are safe and I'm comfortable with her playing by herself with. She goes in her crib and she hangs out there for 30 minutes while we cook dinner. And that's a huge help,
Wow.
because yeah, my son will sometimes be okay playing on his own, or sometimes he'll come help or talk to us. But the fact that we don't have a crying baby in the room with us
Yeah. Yeah.
is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they good with playing with each other as well?
They are right now. Hopefully, I
Okay.
know it's probably not going to stay that way,
Yeah.
but my son is so sweet to her. This morning, he's in summer camp right now, but he in literally in 2 minutes we were going to have to start getting ready to go, and he said, can she and I play with
Oh.
our toys right now? And I said, oh, sweetie, we've got to leave soon, but
Yeah.
after school, yes, he loves playing with her, and she loves watching him. And I know I'm cherishing it now because I know it's probably not going to last.
Oh, well, fingers crossed that does. I hope it does. Yeah. Yeah. I've got like the same kind of age difference. So I've got a almost 4 year old, and then I've got a 1 year old, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite sweet now.
Yeah.
But I do sometimes see bits of her, like not wanting him to play with her toys
Yeah.
anymore and things like that. And I'm hoping that doesn't turn into a everyday problem. So yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Is there any advice that you give to a really overwhelmed mom right now?
I would say don't be so hard on yourself. And I need to take my own advice because I'm very hard on myself. But yeah, it's okay. That, like you said, no judgment with the iPad. If someone were
Yes.
to say
Yeah.
that, um, we don't. My son doesn't watch too much TV, but every once in a while we've got a day where we just like, yeah, I know you already watched something
Yeah.
earlier today, but I'm really stressed out or I'm sick or something, yeah, you can watch another 30 minutes of TV. Absolutely. I just don't be so hard on yourself. Don't hold yourself to expectations that, I mean, you could do everything right, and it's still not work out. So
Yeah.
you can't put too much on yourself because it's just
Mhm.
not, it's not always going to work out. So
Yeah.
it's okay. They're
Yeah.
okay as long as they're safe. That's what matters at the end of the day.
True. 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 And in terms of your blog, let's go back to that. How do you and your husband, do you both work on it, or is it mainly you then?
So I'm the one who created the site and I'm writing the blog posts. He does work full time, so
Okay.
he definitely doesn't have the, I mean, I don't have much time, but he doesn't have the kind of time that I do. I get to do it when they're napping. But he calls himself the editor in chief,
Okay.
which is funny because there's only the two of us. But I, so he is very sweet. You know, at the end of a long day, he's tired, and I'll say, "Can you read this blog post before I publish it?" And he reads it, and he'll give me advice. And he's really good about finding little things that I missed, and so he will say, okay, "You need to add this. You need to talk about this. Change this,"
Okay.
and then I'll make some changes and post it the next day.
Okay.
So he's definitely having a part in it, and I'm bouncing ideas off of him all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so while he's not writing posts and he's not tweaking the website, he's definitely a huge part in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh. And complete this sentence. Um, my kids make me feel.
Happy. It sounds so cheesy, but I love just watching them, and when they're happy, it makes
Yeah.
me happy.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that to my son yesterday because he had a hard time at drop off at school. And I was telling him, you were sad and it made me sad.
Mm.
And when you're happy, it makes me happy. And he hadn't quite realized that until that moment.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that, when I'm happy, you're happy." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. I love doing little things for them that put a smile on their face. It
Definitely.
makes
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not cheesy at all. It's and I feel like sometimes it can change at different points in the day.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, but generally, generally, I feel like that's the answer that most moms would want to give. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think that's really true. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for doing this with me. Let's let our viewers also know how to find you. Your blog and any other spaces, like for example, on social media where we could find you.
Yeah. So the website is called Connect Again. I'm still very new, so if you go into Google and type in Connect Again, I'm not going to pop up. So you have to type into Google connect-again.com. So there's a dash in there. And then I'm on both Facebook and Instagram as Connect Again Blog. Um, yeah, that would be awesome. I really want it to become a community where we help each other.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have all the answers to how to keep your marriage connected. I absolutely admit that there are going to be people out there who have things that I never would have thought of. And so I would love for it to become a community where we help each other and give each other ideas. And if anyone has any ideas for me and my husband to try out, I would love to hear them and,
Yeah.
write a blog post, things like that. So I would love to hear feedback.
Yeah, that's great. I think a community is something that we can't ever have enough of as women first, and then as moms as well.
Yeah.
Constantly sharing ideas, it's really important. And yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you. And I will put the details of your blog and your Facebook as well, and your social media contact details as well in the description for this video. So thank
Okay.
you and bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Um,